go. Let's speak English. Англійська мова Шекспіра та нью-йоркських таксистів. Англійська стане у нагоді вам, бойс і дівчиська.
Hello everyone, my name is Anna. I am an English teacher. Today we're going to finish our trip around English-speaking countries, so we are going to go to Britain for the last time in this topic. Отже, сьогодні у нас урок узагальнення. Ми вже завершуємо подорожувати англомовними країнами, повертаємося до Британії і повторимо з вами той матеріал, який ми пройшли за тему. So, let's take a look at the first thing that we will do with you. Отже, давайте спочатку подумаємо і згадаємо деякі важливі речі. So, at once you have the task. Take a piece of paper, візьміть, будь ласка, листочок, and write on it what images you think you associate with Great Britain. Decide on your top 5 English items. Подумайте, які 5 речей ви асоціюєте з Британією. Запишіть їх. So, write them down in the list. On the right, you can see there is another list that you should make. Which 5 things do you think are most significant about Ukraine? Write them down in a list as well. Think, what could a British person think of Ukraine first when they are asked such a question? Що могла б людина з Британії подумати, які визначні місця та пам'ятки України могла б згадати людина з Британії? Think of it and write down on the list. So now you have 20 seconds to do it. Okay, so time is out. Now take a look at your list and let's compare it to mine. So here are my associations with Great Britain. Отже, тут ви можете побачити мої асоціації з Британією. Їх, звичайно, більше, ніж 5, but you can find some of the associations on your list. So, the first thing that you can actually see is the bus itself, right? So, double-decker buses are a significant thing of Great Britain. So, everybody knows double-deckers. Так, хто ж не знає двоповерхові червоні автобуси, які їздять Лондоном. So, that's a very significant feature of Great Britain. What else is important? What else do we know about it? Tea, of course, 5 o'clock tea. Lady Diana. We actually were talking about Lady Diana on the previous lesson, and today we're going to continue talking about her, but in a few minutes. Okay, what other associations do I have, and maybe you too? Shakespeare, of course, William Shakespeare, the most famous playwright of Great Britain. Queen. You can see the word Queen, and that, of course, is for the Queen of England, Elizabeth II. What else can we see here? What else can we spot in this scheme? Fish and chips, the most famous meal in Great Britain. Kingdom, of course, everybody knows that Great Britain has royalty, and it has the royal family ruling the country, and the country of Great Britain is the kingdom. Westminster, Westminster Abbey, also a significant feature. Football, pubs, Shakespeare, already mentioned. British Museum, we have already talked about it on one of our previous lessons as well. And High Street, which is one of the most famous streets in London. Okay, so now as you have activated your knowledge about Britain, and now we understand that we are going to work with some information that is connected with Lady Diana. Now let's move to the next exercise. Давайте перейдемо до наступної вправи. So, on the board, you can see 2 columns of the words. we will see them later in the text that we will be reading. So our task is to match the words on the left with their synonyms on the right. Отже, маємо дві колонки, слова ліворуч та слова праворуч, які нам необхідно поєднати. Ці слова є синонімами. So these words have similar meaning. Let's take a look at the first column, at the left column, before we start. Upbringing, fame, within, interest, natural, causes, abolition, depression, disorder, and fatal. So we can assume that life of Lady Diana was not very happy. Actually, it was not very happy in the end of it, but before that, she had quite a happy life. So, and to the right, we can see the words that we will need to match to the words in the left column. Let's take a look at them. Inside, missions, pure, childhood, unhappiness, illness, attention, deadly, ending, stardom. So these are the words that we need to match. Let's start with the first one. The first word is upbringing. So when you hear the word upbringing, you might recall the phrase to bring up. When we are talking about bringing up or upbringing, we usually recall the children. So this is how our associations work, and this is how you can guess the meaning of the word. So upbringing is виховання. And which word can we match to the word upbringing? Upbringing is actually, it actually refers to childhood. So childhood is the word that we need to match. Отже, upbringing, виховання можна замінити синонімічним словом childhood, дитинство. Because usually people are brought up when they are children. Number two, fame. So when we talk about famous people, these people are known by everyone. The synonym to the right could be the word stardom. The last one, it's J. So fame or stardom. Let's go to the next word. Number three, within. Within has the synonym to the right, which is the word inside. Inside. Number four, interest. What do you think could the synonym from the right be? Yeah, of course, that's G, attention. So when you get attention, then people are interested in you. So attention, interest are synonyms. The next word is natural. So what could be the word here? Which word will be matched to natural? Sure, that's pure. So natural or pure. Чистий, природній. The next word, causes. So causes is the synonym to the word missions. Number seven, abolition. Abolition is actually the formal word for the word ending. Okay. Number eight, depression. Depression is usually the state of unhappiness, so that would be E, unhappiness. Number nine, disorder. The word disorder is used when we talk about something that is malfunctioning, something that is not working. It can be about the mechanisms, it can be about the organisms. So when we're talking about mental state or physical state, we will say that the synonym to the word disorder would be the word illness. And the last one, it's quite easy to guess now. Number 10, fatal would have the synonym from the right. It is the word deadly. So H, deadly or fatal. So now as you know the synonyms, now as you know the words, we are going to see them in the text. But before we go to the text, let's quickly take a look at the fact file that tells us important information about Lady Diana's life and work. So here is the fact file on Lady Diana. Let's take a look. Diana was the Princess of Wales. She was an activist, a style icon, and one of the most influential people of the 20th century. She was the fourth of 5 children, And she wanted to be a ballerina, but she was too tall for it. But then she became a princess. That's actually not a bad thing to be replaced with. So, and the Duchess of Cambridge, that's actually the first title of Lady Diana. She was the first royal bride to have the education, the university degree. So, can you imagine what an amazing person she was? So now let's read her life story. Listen and read the following text. Lady Diana Spencer, who was a member of British royal family, was born in 1961. She had a normal, quiet upbringing. It could never have prepared her for the fame and glamour which she acquired while being a British princess. Within a few years, she changed from being a shy teenage to the most photographed person on the planet. She hit newspaper headlines around the world, but the biggest one was for her death at the age of 36. Diana was a kindergarten teacher in London when she caught the interest of Prince Charles. She won the hearts of a nation with her shy smiles and natural beauty. The whole world watched her fairy tale royal wedding in 1981. A year later, she gave birth to Prince William, who was the first of her two sons. Diana was nervous at first in public, but she soon developed a charming manner. She took a strong interest in many charities and important causes. She highlighted the suffering of the homeless people, she campaigned for the abolition of landmines, and many countries banned them. Diana and Charles divorced in 1996. She struggled with depression and eating disorders for many years after. She finally found happiness with an Egyptian film producer, Dodi Al-Fayed. Their romance was closely followed by the paparazzi, which led to the fatal car crash that killed her in Paris in 1997. At her funeral, British Prime Minister Tony Blair called her the People's Princess. To many, she was simply the Queen of Hearts. So now that you have heard and read the text about Lady Diana, you know that she was a very charming, she was a very cheerful person, and she was very hardworking. Now let's take a look at the exercise and let's check how well you remember some of the things that are connected with the content of the text. So choose the correct words in italics according to the text content. Let's take a look at the first sentence. Number 1. Lady Diana Spencer was born in 1961. She had an abnormal, normal, quiet upbringing. So let's think. Did she have a normal or an abnormal upbringing? Take a look at the context of the sentence. First of all, you will see the article a, which actually cannot be used before the word that starts with a vowel. Бачимо артикль «е», який не може вживатися перед словом, яке починається на голосну букву. Отже, має бути 100% приголосна, а з контексту речення ми розуміємо і пам'ятаємо з тексту, що upbringing, тобто childhood, тобто виховання леді Діани було досить спокійним і звичайним, нормальним. So we need to use the word normal here. Number 2. It could never have prepared her for the fame and glamour, or glamorous, of being a British princess. Do you remember which exactly was the word that was used in the text? Was it glamour or was it glamorous? Here you will need to take a look at the sentence structure. Дивимось на структуру речення і розуміємо, що слово fame, так, це іменник, і тому наступне слово у нас теж має бути іменником. So, glamorous is an adjective, and the word glamour is a noun. That's the one that we need here. Number 3. Diana was a kindergarten teacher in London when she caught the interest of Prince Charles. So, we need to use the past simple form of the verb here. As we are talking about past events that already finished. So, which is why we cannot use the verb catch. Так, ми не можемо використовувати дієслово catch саме у цій формі, тому що ми говоримо про минулі події. В даному випадку нам необхідно вжити дієслово caught, це форма дієслова catch, тільки в past simple, в минулому часі. So she was a kindergarten teacher in London when she caught the interest of Prince Charles. Number 4. She took a strong interest in many charities and important causes. So, Lady Diana had a strong attention, she paid strong attention to many charities. Would the synonym to attention be interest or interesting? Interesting is an adjective. Так, слово interesting – це прикметничок, тому в даному випадку він нам не підходить. Ми говоримо про інтерес, зацікавленість, увагу, тому маємо використовувати іменник. And that would be the word interest. The next sentence, number 5. She also campaigned for the abolition or abolish of landmines and many countries banned them. So, are we using abolition or abolish in this sentence? Let's recall what we have already seen on the previous slides. Давайте згадаємо, що ми вже попередньо бачили, і в якій формі це слово вживалося на одному з попередніх слайдів, коли ми говорили про синоніми до цих слів. So, we had the word abolition. That would be the synonym to the word ending. So, when something is finished, not used anymore. Here we need to use the noun form of the verb. That is actually abolition, so we cannot use the verb abolish in this case. Number 6. Their romantic romance was closely followed by the paparazzi, which led to the fatal or fatality car crash that killed her in Paris in 1997. So let's take a look at the first part of the sentence first. That's the part of the sentence before a comma. So they're romantic or romance. So romance is a noun, romantic is an adjective. After an adjective, we usually need to use some noun, but we cannot say it right there. There is the verb was, so we need to use the noun. Отже, їх роман, that would be the word romance. And let's take a look at the second part of the sentence now. Давайте зараз подивимось на другу частинку речення. Це та частинка, яка після коми. So, which led to the fatal or fatality car crash that killed her in Paris in 1997. So, here we have the words car crash that we need to describe using an adjective. Fatality is a noun. So, we will need the word fatal, or as its synonym was deadly, in this sentence, which led to the fatal car crash that killed her in Paris in 1997. So, now as you remember the words from the text, let's take a look at the text once again. Here you can see the underlined sentences. These are actually the clauses, the defining and non-defining relative clauses. Отже, в даному тексті, який ви зараз бачите на екрані, ви можете побачити, що деякі частинки речень, тобто clauses, є підкресленими. Це defining або non-defining relative clauses. Remember that a defining relative clause gives us important information that cannot be taken away from the sentence. When we're talking about non-defining relative clauses, they give us extra, not very necessary information. Usually, this clause is separated by commas. Отже, ми виділяємо комами такий clause, таку частинку речення. Вона дає нам не дуже важливу інформацію, яку ми можемо з речення прибрати, і його функції ніяк не будуть змінені. So let's take a look at the sentences on the board. Lady Diana Spencer, who was a member of the British royal family, was born in 1961. Can our sentence function without the part which is in between the commas? Yes, of course, we can say that Lady Diana Spencer was born in 1961. The information after who is extra. We can take it away, or we can create a new sentence with it. She was a member of British royal family. And this will be an extra, a new sentence. Let's take a look at another one, another clause which is underlined. It could never have prepared her for the fame and glamour which she acquired while being a British princess. And here we're talking about what exactly fame and what exactly the glamour was, the one that she got while she was a British princess. Тобто в даному випадку ми означуємо, що ж це була за слава, і говоримо, що ця слава була отримана саме в той час, коли вона була вже принцесою Британії. So this part of the information is important. We cannot take away this part of the sentence. So what about the next sentence? Diana was a kindergarten teacher in London when she caught the interest of Prince Charles. When she caught the interest of Prince Charles, this part of the sentence tells us about when exactly something happened. So this part of information is important for our sentence. We cannot omit it, we cannot take it away. Ми не можемо прибрати цю інформацію з речення, вона є для нас важливою, тому це defining relative clause, ми не маємо в даному випадку коми. A year later, she gave birth to Prince William, who was the first of her two sons. So, is it important who Prince William was? Yes, we actually highlight here that he was the first son of Lady Diana. And this part of the information, this piece of information is important. This is a defining relative clause. We can actually substitute the word who with that in this case. Ми можемо замінити займенничок who займенничком that в даному випадку. And the last sentence here, it's in the end of the text. Their romance was closely followed by the paparazzi, which led to the fatal car crash that killed her in Paris in 1997. Here, actually, we have even two clauses, yeah? After a comma, there is a non-defining relative clause that actually explains us the extra information. It gives the extra information about that very event. Later, we are describing the important information. So, what kind of the car crash? The one that killed her in Paris in 1997. This part of the sentence is a defining clause. So, it gives us important information. It defines what exactly the car crash was. So, now as you have revised this information about defining and non-defining relative clauses, let's go to some practice. Our task now is to choose correct relative pronouns and put the verbs into the right form. So we're actually not just revising the pronouns that we need to use here, but also let's revise how we use the past simple forms of the verbs. Let's take a look at the first sentence. Lady Diana Spencer, who or which was a member of British royal family, B, born in 1961. So we have to first of all figure out whether it is who or which that we need to choose here. So we are talking about Princess Lady Diana Spencer, and we are talking about a person. So that is why we will use the word who, which cannot be used in this case. And then we are talking about the past event. So of course, we are going to use the past form of the verb to be, which is either was or were. So was is used for singular, were is used for plural. Of course, we are talking about one person here, and that's why we will need to use the form of the verb to be, which is was. That's right. Number 2, she have a normal, quiet upbringing. We are talking about the past events here. We're talking about a finished action. Ми говоримо про минулу дію, про завершений часовий проміжок і маємо вживати past simple форму дієслова. So what is the past simple form of the verb to have? That's definitely had. Number 3, within a few years, she changed from being a shy teenager to the most photographed person on the planet. Once again, we are talking about the past events, and we need to put the verb change into the past simple form. Will it change according to the table of irregular verbs? No, this verb is a regular verb. It simply needs the D ending to be added. So let's take a look at the board. She changed from being a shy teenager. Number 4, Diana was a kindergarten teacher in London when, or why, she caught the interest of Prince Charles. So are we describing the reason, or are we describing the time? Diana was a kindergarten teacher in London. We can assume that this part of the sentence tells us about when exactly something happened. So when we're talking about the time, we need to use the pronoun, the relative pronoun when. Number 5. Diana was nervous at first in public, but she soon developed a charming manner. Again, we are talking about the past simple, so we need to use the past simple form of the verb to develop. We simply add ed ending to this verb in order to make the past simple. Отже, нам потрібно просто додати закінчення ed до дієслова develop для того, щоб утворити минулу форму дієслова. And we have to say that Diana was nervous at first in public, but she soon developed a charming manner. Number 6. Their romance was closely followed by the paparazzi, which or that led to her fatal car crash. So, after a comma, are we using which or that to refer to that event? Of course, there is no that after a comma. It's a non-defining relative clause. Here we cannot use the word that, which is why we will use which. So, their romance was closely followed by the paparazzi, which led to the fatal car crash. And now the last sentence, number 7. To many, she be simply the queen of hearts. So once again, what would be the singular form of the verb to be in the past? That will be either was or were, and here, of course, we need to say that to many, she was simply the queen of hearts. Okay, so now that we have done the exercise that has helped us to practice the pronouns, the relative clauses, and the past simple forms of the verbs, let's take a look at the generalization on the past simple and past continuous that were learned during the topic. So, past simple is used to talk about past completed actions, past habits or states, situations that started and finished in the past, and narrative use when we are telling a story, so events of the story in chronological order. You can see the examples on your screens. Можете побачити приклади на екрані. І past continuous to the right. Actions in progress at a certain time in the past or at a certain point in the story. And narrative use. We use the past continuous to set the scene of the beginning of a story. Okay, now that you have seen the generalization, the summary of the tenses, let's take a look at your home assignment. So here you have 3 questions that you actually can answer right now. The first question, what do you know about Princess Diana? What do you remember? We have read the text about Lady Diana, so what are the most interesting facts that you have learned? Think. Would you like to have met Princess Diana? Me? I would love to. So, the third question. What would you like to know about Princess Diana and why? Which questions would you ask to Lady D? And your homework. Choose several words from the text that we have read. Use a dictionary or a Google search or another search engine to build up more associations, collocations to each word. I'd advise you to write some sentences using these words. And you can also, that's optional of course, so you can write a letter to Princess Diana. Ask her 3 questions about her life. So, this is it for today. Thank you very much for your attention. We can hear the bell ringing, so thank you very much. See you next time. Goodbye.